I'm too old for this. Hey guys, Chris with Hyke. Welcome back. If you're new here, this channel's for beginner backpackers. And today I want to talk about some tips and tricks and just some ideas for older hikers. So there's a lot of older backpackers out there, and most of them have a lot of experience, but there's nothing to say that just because you're older, you can't also be a beginner. So I know that a lot of my audience is in the 50 to 70-year-old range, and that doesn't necessarily mean they've been backpacking forever. So I've got a few tips and tricks to help out as we get older. I'm going to be turning 53 this month, and I definitely have not taken good care of myself physically. And so I've got some challenges that I didn't have when I was in my 20s and 30s. So we're going to talk about some of that today. So as we age, it's no surprise we lose some flexibility, lose some stamina, and those joints can get a little stiff compared to when we were younger. And that doesn't mean we can't do the same things, but it does mean that it may take a little more time, a little more effort. Now, that's not to say that people are inherently less fit when they're older. I've seen some people in some pretty great shape, man, that appeared to be 70 years old climbing Mount Adams. I've seen 60 and 70-year-olds down in the Grand Canyon. So you can keep yourself in shape as you get older, but it does require a little bit more effort. So let's start with pacing. Now, a lot of people like to put in a lot of miles, so they hike fast and they hike hard. Now, as we get older, that's going to be a little harder. So I have found that I can still cover a lot of miles, but my pace might be a little slower. And slow and steady still gets you there. And honestly, if you're going hard and you don't have that stamina you used to, you're going to end up resting a lot longer when you do rest, and really you're not going to get there any faster. So slow and steady, it's going to get you there. You're not going to wear out as much. You're not going to need to rest as long, but you are going to need to rest. And typically I've always found that really the best thing is about every hour, rest for about 10 minutes. I'm not real good at adhering to that. I like to push through, but recently did a 40-mile trip, and I did find that pushing through actually kind of hurt me overall in that my pace got slower and it took me longer to get where I was going. So what you don't want to do is rest longer, but you may want to rest more often. So more frequent breaks if you have a lot of stamina issues, joint issues, but still 10 minutes is a good time for a break. Anything beyond that, you're going to start to stiffen up, and that's going to make it harder hiking. So breaks are important. More frequent may be necessary, but not longer. Another thing I've found is that the uphills get a little harder as the years go by. As you get older, uphills take a little more out of you. One thing that helps with that is trekking poles. So I've used trekking poles for a very long time, and I do find that on those uphills, they take some of that stress off of those joints in your knees, ankles, hips, and really doesn't work those lower body muscles quite as much because you're taking some of that onto your arms. Also helps with stability, and for some reason when we get older, seem a little more wobbly, I guess. So it's really nice to have that extra point of contact. Helps with our footing as we get older. So trekking poles are a great idea. The hypothalamus in the brain actually regulates our thirst. Now, one thing you might not know is as we age, there are changes in the hypothalamus, and those changes result in not triggering us like they used to when we need to drink. So dehydration can be a big problem as we get older, and not because water isn't as effective. Our brain tells us that we're not thirsty when we need water. So it's really important when you are backpacking, as you get into your 60s and 70s, to drink quite often, little sips along the way. So have your water handy so you can drink on the trail. Now, I talked about flexibility a little bit ago, and that's a big deal. We're not as flexible as we used to be. And because of that, it's kind of hard to get down low and get back up. Those knees, those hips, they're just not working the way they were before. And so a lot of my viewers, when I've talked about backpacking chairs, have said how important it is for them to have that. Because they just can't get down the way they used to. They have back problems, they have knee problems. And so having a backpacking chair is not a bad idea as you get older, just so you can rest and recover comfortably. And of course, speaking of rest and recovery, bring ibuprofen. If you're able to take ibuprofen, that's really going to help with some of that inflammation. And we're going to have more inflammation as we get older if we're hiking all day. And if we want to put in a lot of miles, those joints and muscles are going to hurt. Ibuprofen is going to help with that. You can also bring things like Icy Hot, and you can get small packets of that just to help with those sore muscles. You know, that's important for every age, but we're going to feel that a lot more as we get older. Another thing that comes with age is generally more medications. So make sure when you're planning your trip that you're planning to take all the medications you need. You can put them in a little pill box, or I put mine in a little snack size Ziploc. Make sure you have as many of those as you're going to need for the trip, and bring an extra day's worth just in case. And as we speak about bringing extras, you know, in your first aid kit, if you bring Band-Aids, things like that, it might be a good idea to bring a few extras, because as we get into an advanced age, our skin becomes thinner and more brittle, and so more likely to have tears, cuts, things like that. So just little extras like that might be helpful. And as far as nutrition goes, well, I mean, we tend to eat a lot of junk out there, but while you're hiking, go carb heavy. Carb's going to give you short, good bursts of energy. That's what your body is built to burn. But have some protein at the end of the day. So snack sticks, a nice Mountain House meal loaded with meat. If you're a vegetarian, beans, rice, things like that, tofu, you're looking for protein because that helps your muscles recover. And guys, I'm sorry, but a lot of times as we get older, the prostate enlarges. Side effect of that is more frequent urges to urinate. So that sucks when you're in a tent at night. So consider bringing like a wide mouth Gatorade bottle. It's going to save you getting up in the middle of the night multiple times. It's going to help with keeping you from getting up and down so much on those aching joints as well. Wow, I really hate to leave on that note, but honestly, that's kind of all I've got for you today. There is nothing to say that you can't do the same things that you did when you were younger. You just might need to make some adjustments. And if you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, even in your 80s, it's never too late to get started in backpacking. Don't tell yourself you're too old. Just be aware you might need to make some adjustments. And that's really all I've got for you guys today. I want to thank you for watching. And I think I'm lost. Well, that'll be a video for next week. See you then.